How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation. It's time to get that imagination all revved up. Time to get into some creativity. And it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Norman Mingo. If you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. He is probably most well known for creating, I believe it's Alfred E. Newman, the iconic character from the Mad magazine series. But probably what I appreciate the most is his illustrative work that rivals or is at least a contemporary of Norman Rockwell, as you can see right over here. He's just a phenomenal illustrator and artist and painter, and just really does a great job of capturing likenesses with a little bit of caricaturization in there, but still keeping a sense of reality and realness to his work. There's just a beautiful quality to his line work and a real gentleness to his painting as well. Let's see if I can find, see, he did a bunch of the original first run covers for Mad magazine is probably what he's best known for. But like I said, he did a bunch of advertisements and paintings before that. The cool thing about him is he didn't really work for Mad magazine until he was in his 60s. So he had almost a life's worth of work before he even became or found what he'd be most well known for in the future. I think that's really interesting and very inspiring for anyone who's not 17 and looking to get into an industry to realize that you may have a whole different life previous to when you might figure out or get that recognition from whatever medium it is that you're looking at. So don't give up. Keep following your dreams. And we talk about that each and every day here. But like I said, each and every piece of his is just really spot on and great. And like I said, you can see the mix of kind of a more whimsical, illustrative characterization blending with more realistic and photograph-like work, and the contrast between the two as well. It's really nice. So definitely check out more of his stuff down below. Unfortunately, he's probably one of the harder people to track down his work from, but I will throw a little more information if you guys want to do some more reading about him down below as well. But I did want to share one quote that I was able to find from him, and this is a little bit different than kind of the usual quotes that we find. And this was, like I said, there's not a whole lot of stuff that's attributed to him, but he did have a little bit of correspondence between himself and Norman Rockwell, and this is one of his sentiments to Norman Rockwell was, "May you have good health and live for many more years and never stop working." And I think that's a great sentiment to have towards other people as creatives, and to think about for yourself that you can have good health, that you can continue to pursue your dreams, and that you never stop. And I think it's a great sentiment to have. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into some animation. If you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of the videos, we give ourselves 48 frames, give or take, and we go ahead and find a different rig that I've never used before. It's a free resource for you guys to play around with, and today's is the tree rig. It's a free rig you can grab on Creative Crash. It's part of a ARC package that I will link to in the description below if you guys want to play around with it as well. And we kind of go from there. A little bit of over the shoulder, hang out with me while I animate. A little bit of instruction or guidance or talking through the process, but most of all, my goal with doing these videos is to help encourage you guys to go off and create your own amazing stuff and inspire you to do something each and every day. And when you do, definitely share it down below so I can give you some thumbs up or some encouragement, or if you want comments or feedback or anything, definitely I'm welcome and happy to do that for you guys as well. And this is the last day of Jumpvember, which has been a jump animation every day for the month of November. So I was thinking we could do a little hop over the little house maybe a couple of times. Let's see here. I want to kind of stay around the 48 frame range, so let's see how it does. But it should be pretty fun, a little bit different than we've been doing, and that's kind of the goal of this, was to push our jump animation and our timing and our arc quirks and everything a little bit more by focusing on them for a month, and trying to also twist the idea of a jump in a different way each and every day. So that being said, let's go ahead and get in here. Now, not much for posing we can really do with this guy. There's a little bit we could take this and go about like that, and then this house. Go really like that. So we'll go ahead and set that where it is for right now. Let's go ahead and save our file, and I don't think I did that prior to the video, so I'll have to bear with the program here as it loads, and we are using Autodesk Maya 2014. For more information, check out the description below. And like I mentioned quite often, it is always good to save multiple versions and to save often on any of your files so that you don't lose the work that you're working on. So we'll just go ahead and save this as, let's see, I think it might be in my binary file. I want to save it in the same format that it was before here. Yeah, it's a binary, so we'll just call it tree anim. And usually I like to use ASCII files myself because I feel like they're a little bit lighter and also easier to fix if they get corrupted. But with free rigs, you tend to want to stay in the same format that the rig is given to you. And so that's just a little note there. So let's go ahead and grab everything, go to frame 0, and we'll set our first key. And we'll do a little bit of anticipation here. So we'll go ahead and go to about 19. Squash it up and maybe bring it down a little bit. Again, we'll set everything there. We'll go to 15. Raise it up. Raise it up, and over. Let's zero this out here for a second. Try to keep it so that they're on each other here. And we'll go ahead and delete some of these here, just so that we can stay in the same pattern that we're at. This, make sure take our translate. Let's open our animation editors here, and let's look at our translate X here. Let's go ahead and just pull that over to the side because it's at a little bit of an angle, which is fine. But let's go ahead and also bring it down there. But this way we can stay without having to do too much back and forth. So let's go ahead and rotate this house a little bit here. So it'll be 0. ourselves a couple frames there where it's planted. Maybe one less. And then copy that so we get at least a little bit of hold where it's on the ground here. Let's look at that now. Let's go one frame shorter there. Still think maybe I only want 3 frames instead of 4 frames. Yeah, this needs to be a little bit shorter. And this needs to be a couple of frames shorter as well. Okay, let's look at the translate X here. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit smaller the second time. So it's a smaller jump there. And then there will be a smaller one here as well. So let's look at it now. I think this might be a little too much, so let's bring it in. This goes from being far to being closer, close, and then closest. So let's see. And we need to cut out probably about a frame on each side here. It's just taking too long. Let's see. So we got 10 frames in that jump, and then we do 8 frames in that one, and we do 7 frames. So yeah, let's go 9 frames for this first one. So each one's a little bit quicker. Okay, starting to feel pretty good. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the house. Let's have it squash down a little here. And go up. Keep it there. And squash down a little bit here. And go back up. Set there. Squash down a little bit there. And go back up. Let's go look at it now. Okay. Starting to be a little more playful. It reminds me, not that it's the concept at least wise. There's a, I believe it's a Mary Blair Disney animation short that's really great. That has these personified houses that kind of dance and groove around, and they've got these big eyes. And definitely check that out. I'll have to see if I can find a link to it, so you guys can check that out as well. If not, I'm sure you could just Google Mary Blair house Disney short or something like that, and you can find it. Set the translate X here. So I'm just making the default a little bit smaller so we can get a little bit of overshoot there. A little bit of recoil here. So it's good. Let's see that now. Give me a couple more frames of that. I'll take what it is there and bring it there. And let that go into about 52. Yeah, let's delete that and let's look at it now. Let's see. Let's push it a little more forward. Let's look at that ending. And maybe we'll go about 60 frames. 46 to 52, that's 6 frames, so let's go 8 frames. And 10 frames, let's go 70. I'll set that so you get a little more recoil. Another round of recoil in there, bounce. Okay, so let's look at it now. Okay, and let's go ahead and look at this guy. Okay, let's go ahead and put it up. And down. Up. And down. Up. And down. Up. Down. Up. Okay. Alright, now let's clean that up a little bit more. Probably minimize it a little bit more as well. So it drags up. We'll probably delay that about a frame too. So the peak right before it hits. It hits on what, 39, so that peak again would be right about there. And how many frames do you give it to recoil? That's 4, 3. Okay, let's look at it again. So that's 5 frames in there. 5, so that give me 6 frames to go back up, but not as much, and 7 frames to go again, then 8 frames. Keep that. just a little bit. Tilt it forward, and back. Let's go and look at that now. Yeah, let's look at that rotate Z again. Kind of taper it a little more. Let's see. Let's see if there's any extra controllers that are on here. So let's look at that. And we'll just keep that that way. Looks a little better. Yeah, let's see, it's this rotate. It's not really going to do too much. I'd like to be able to get a little bit of drag in the stump there a little bit more if we could, but it doesn't appear that we can. Let's go ahead and create a floor layer here. So let's do a cube, just so we got a base to give ourselves a little more frame of reference for our shot here. Now let's go ahead and bring that down a little bit more. Let's go and look at it again. Again, yeah, I wish there was a way to. I wonder if we could grab this cylinder. Let's go ahead and save our file. I'm seeing if I can parent another copy of that cylinder onto there, and then put a locator on there, and if we could get a little bit of drag there. So let's see. Again, let's go ahead and save our file, because this works right now, but I think we could get a little bit of drag in there. So let's copy that and paste that. That's not going to do it. Let's look at our outliner here. Okay, hold on one second here. Okay, sorry about that. Looks like that was going to kind of corrupt the file, so I won't go with that idea. I just thought it would be kind of fun to do a little bit of drag. So let's save a separate file here. Maybe I'll create my own cylinder, parent it onto there, apply the same shader, and do it that way so I can get a little bit of drag with that. We'll see if that'll work. If not, we'll just go back to this. But there's not that many controllers that we have with this thing, so let's just call this tree anim B. And again, one second. Okay, like I said, gonna save a separate file so we can go ahead and do this, and if we don't like it, we'll just go back to what we had. But I think we can get that to work. So let's go ahead and create a cylinder here. Let's go ahead and place it right over this guy here. And let's put in a little bit more. We want to mimic pretty much everything that this cylinder is. Yeah, let's create a separate layer. Turn it on, turn it off. Pretty much right where we want it. Play a little bit bigger. It's pretty close to being right where we need it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And let's assign an existing material. Let's do Lambert 2. No. Lambert 3. Alright, let's go into, let's find out what it actually is. Hypershade should be it. And then we'll figure out which layer it is. It's probably tree blend 8. So let's assign existing material tree blend 8. Okay. Should be the same. Not really though. Let's try which one's this? This is tree endoscopic 2. Alright, let's put a new material in there. Just put a Lambert. And let's find the color. And let's just want to try and get it pretty close to what that was before. It's a little bit lighter than that. Okay, that's pretty close. I can like that a little bit more. Okay, so now let's create a locator here. Go ahead and pop that bad boy right in the middle there. And let's minimize it a lot more so it's not going to stick out. And then what we want to do is save our file again. And let's look at the outliner. So let's take, what's this, cylinder 3, and show all. And control click the locator and parent those by hitting P on the keyboard. We'll take locator 1, and the locator's going to move that. Now we'll take locator 1 and control click to cylinder 2 and parent those. And then if we do that, it should move at the same time there. Okay, and that should mean that we can get in there and do your cylinder 3 and set it there. position's locked in. Hold it till 21. Let's set it at 29. That till 33. And 39. Hold that till. Oh, okay, that's just that. Okay. Okay, now we can do a little bit of down here, a little bit of up, a little bit of down there. So we get that little bit of extra lift there. So a little bit of down there. Ooh, can't do that much. A little bit of up here. A little bit of down there. A little bit of down there, so we get some drag. A little bit up. A little bit of down there. Let's look at it now. So we get that little bit of extra drag in there. Okay. Now let's look at our graph editor for that and kind of clean it up probably a little bit more. Goes down, up, down, up. That might be a little too much. go ahead and do a little bit more with our scenery though here. So let's scale that up a little bit, and we'll assign a new material on there. Let's put a Lambert on there, and let's find our brown color that we used before, but let's turn that to a green. Maybe we'll mute it a little bit more. Okay, and let's create another cube here for our background. Pull that up, and we'll assign a new material to that as well, and make that bluish color. Well, we don't want to fade it too much into the house, so that's good. See that now. Let's try and do a little bit of a brighter color here. And again, just kind of setting our layout a little bit more. It's more interesting. Okay, now let's turn off our new curves and new surfaces and our locators here. And let's grab that, and let's turn that off. Nope, we're gonna let's turn that off for a second because we gotta hide this, whatever this is. Alright, I guess we're gonna have to look through to find out where that is. So let's go window outliner. Let's look at the cube. Let's look at the squash handle. Let's turn that off. Okay, let's step back a couple more steps here. Okay. There's gotta be a way to turn this off. Let's create a new perspective here because I like that camera angle. I feel like it works okay. Let's go ahead and save our file again. Let's see where we can get this. So let's create a layer with both of those, and we'll hide those. Okay. So let's just hide that. There we go. Sometimes you have to go through, depending on the regs, and just look through, and we found that that was tied to tree cube 2 for some reason. So we just created a separate layer with that on it and turned the visibility off on there. Then we can we'll switch back to our original perspective that we liked without that little grit in there from that handle. And let's zoom out so we're not selected on anything. And let's look at our animation again. And let's zoom out a little more so we can make sure we get it all in there. Now one other thing we have to worry about is the base of that. Okay, so let's go back. Figured out one mystery here. Sorry about that. So let's take a look back at where we started. We were looking at the beautiful work of Norman Mingo, and he said, "May you have good health and live for many more years and never stop working." And I think that's a great sentiment for any creative person to have and to send out to other people as well. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you're pursuing your dreams and continuing on each and every day. And I hope you have good health and live for many more years and never stop working. That being said, I love you guys, and we'll see you for some more animation once I find the button here tomorrow.